It's a universal gym experience. You lie on the mat, grinding through sets of reverse crunches, leg raises, and flutter kicks. You can feel your abdominal muscles burning, but weeks later, the soft layer of fat sitting right on top of them remains unchanged. This frustration is built on the myth of spot reduction, the assumption that flexing a specific muscle group allows you to directly access and burn the fat stored immediately adjacent to it. In reality, fat loss is systemic. When you create an energy deficit, your body mobilizes triglycerides from all over your frame at once. You lose weight from your face, your arms, and your calves simultaneously, regardless of which muscle you're actually working. But if fat loss is a full body process, it raises a biological mystery. Why does the human body seem to preserve lower belly fat for absolute last, even as the rest of the frame slims down? This resistance isn't necessarily a failure of effort. Instead, you're contending with your body's protective biological programming, a system evolved to guard these specific fat stores more aggressively than any other. To understand why the stomach is so resistant, we have to look at the tissue itself. The pinchable padding that sits just beneath your skin and above your abdominal wall is called subcutaneous fat. For fat cells to shrink, they must first receive a specific chemical signal from the body. Only once they detect this signal will they break down their stored triglycerides and release their energy into the bloodstream. Cells detect these instructions using cellular receivers called beta receptors, tiny antennas tuned to the body's fat-burning frequency. Here is the biological roadblock. Lower belly fat has significantly fewer beta receptors than your arms or legs. This means the lower belly is essentially hard of hearing. Even when you are in a caloric deficit and your body is signaling for more energy, these cells often miss the message. The stubborn nature of the midsection is a result of this physiological deafness. The cells aren't ignoring your workout, they are simply slower to receive the metabolic signal to shrink. But the padding you can pinch is only one layer. Deeper inside, wrapped tightly around your internal organs, is a second type called visceral fat. The storage of this deeper fat is governed by cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, responsible for managing energy during fight or flight scenarios. Under chronic stress, cortisol triggers a relocation protocol. It actively extracts fat from other body parts and moves it deep into the abdomen, where it's closest to the liver for rapid energy use. In a high-stress lifestyle, this creates a continuous loop. Your body is perpetually signaling to hoard and protect this visceral fat, regardless of how many miles you run. While core movements burn energy, they cannot override this hormonal signal. If cortisol levels remain high, your body will continue to prioritize the midsection as a primary storage site. Since you cannot target fat away, the only solution is forcing a systemic, full-body metabolic override. The mandatory baseline is a sustained calorie deficit. You must keep the overall energy supply low enough that the body is eventually forced to tap into its most resistant reserves. This graph compares two cardiovascular tools, high-intensity interval training, HIIT, and moderate-intensity continuous training, MICT. While HIIT improves insulin sensitivity in short bursts, the sustained volume of MICT leads to higher cumulative fat oxidation. This prolonged demand is necessary to deplete deep visceral fat. The final variable is hormonal. Managing daily stress to lower cortisol levels tells the body it no longer needs to pack fat into central organs for an emergency. Overriding stubborn fat is an equation. It requires a caloric deficit, the right cardiovascular volume, and hormonal management, rather than reliance on one movement. This brings us back to the exercises we started with, the leg raises and dead bugs. While these movements won't burn localized fat, they are essential for building muscle density and the structural tension needed to stabilize your entire body. The systemic protocol strips away the stubborn subcutaneous and visceral layers, while these targeted exercises define the muscles waiting underneath. Reducing the abdominal area requires this two-part approach, using systemic biology to burn the fat stores and physical training to build the strength beneath.